I like your beard. It looks good.
Thank you. This is you might still be in the phase of it's really itchy, and it's kind of like bugs you. Is this a voluntary length of your beard?
I keep it trimmed back. Yeah,
All right. Yeah. I did this for a gig, and it gets to a point where it's just a pain in the ass for a while, but then it reaches this critical mass, and it's okay. And one of the things that happens as it's growing out, you find yourself, it itches so much. You could be at like a fancy dinner party, and without even knowing it, your hand has found the salad fork and starts going like this.
Not really, though.
No, I've done it a million times. And I'm sitting there going like this. Oh, that's interesting, Mr. President. What do you think of the ruckus? And my wife will say, you are sticking a fork into your beard. And I said, I am not. Oh, my God! I put it down, but you can't. It just gets in. Yeah. But then it goes, ah. Mm-hmm. And now you're either, you're either Ulysses S. Grant or you're brewing craft beer in Brooklyn. Two things.
This is a good time to have a nice white beard, though. It's Christmas time. Will you keep it through the holidays?
A little cringly, I think.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to cut it. This is for a gig. I have one day of shooting that I have to do.
Oh.
And then by fiat and family vote, it's going to come off right after that.
The family doesn't like it? Rita does not care for the beard?
Rita divides our marriage into eras of beard or no beard. It's
really?
like, don't even mention Castaway to her. Even just like the Sully mustache, she goes,
The Sully mustache was a little weird, but I think the beard works very well.
Well, okay, thank you. I am going to take it down. When I grow a beard, I will try to do various looks and just get a picture of it.
Yeah.
Like, I want to do the guy just out of prison. I'll just do a thing like that. I'll do that.
Right.
Then I'll do the Elvis impersonator, that kind of thing. But I want to get a Burt Reynolds, bow mustache, the one that comes down there. So I'll get a picture of that.
That's good. Just be careful, because the final stage of that, of course, is a little Hitler mustache.
I will call that the Charlie Chaplin, you idiot. I'm not going to say, I'll put a little top hat on.
You're smarter than I am.
You see a little mustache and you see Nazis, do you? You are such a jaded talk show host.
It's a glass half empty.
I get it. You go for the easy joke.
I don't know if you know this, because I know you've been... Where were you shooting this movie?
We were in New Mexico.
New Mexico.
Vast stretches of New Mexico.
Out in the fields.
So far away
desert.
that there was no cell phone service. I mean, you had to go climb a thing called Lone Butte to get 2 bars.
You really?
Yeah. Oh, I can't see. Oh, climb Lone Butte. You go up there and you see some producer up there going like this.
Really?
Because he could get 2 bars. It looks like rain. We're going to have to shoot on Saturday. But we were out in these. There's a vast movie history to New Mexico.
To that area.
Ames Ranch and Bonanza Creek Ranch, all these places where really famous movies have been
And you love
shot.
that stuff, right?
Well, okay, so we were shooting a scene, and all the grips know, all the crew knows, and they will say, this is the ranch where Bruce Dern killed John Wayne in The Cowboys. And just like that, it becomes like Holy Grail time.
That was a big thing, right? Because wasn't it like bad for Bruce Dern's career?
He said,
Bruce killed John Wayne.
I couldn't get a job for like 5 years after I killed John Wayne. No, I'm serious. It was a real problem for me. I was working with Mayor Winningham. She and I made Turner and Hooch 8 million years ago.
Oh, yes.
Mayor.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Mayor was, we hadn't worked together 30 years, so Mayor was in this movie, and I had to tell Mayor, I said, Mayor, you shot here in Bonanza Creek. She said, I did? Yeah, you made a movie with Kevin Costner called Wyatt Earp that shot right here. I did? I said, Mayor, what is wrong with you? She said, well, actually, none of these buildings were here when we shot that. But he said, actually, you spent about 7 weeks of your life right here shooting this movie.
Well, the desert looks the same.
It does, and you can change the angle. Just by going like this, you got a whole new shot.
Right.
It's like, okay, here's one thing. And
exactly.
The Lone Butte is in the background.
So Lone Butte is where you get the wireless signal. And so we asked just lightly, I don't think you've seen this before, but this was on Jeopardy last week. And I'd like to get your reaction.
All right.
Biopics, 200, please.
In a beautiful day in the neighborhood, beloved children's TV show host Mr. Rogers is played by this beloved actor. The film opens Friday. That's Tom Hanks.
You are kidding me. You are kidding me. What? They didn't even have any wrongs, you know. So somebody got Bing, Woody Harrelson? No.
They were stunned.
Bing, no. Mahershala Ali? No, I'm sorry. That's wrong. What was the name of the category? Washed up career choices for $800? Bad casting for $1,000, Alex?
I look at it as you inhabited that character so beautifully that even they were absorbed instantaneously.
Okay, I'll take that. Thank you.
See, I'm not so pessimistic.
I think actually they were blinded by the red sweater and couldn't make anything out.
Did you do anything weird in the red sweater?
I tell you. First of all, you put on that red sweater and those blue shoes. You might as well be putting on Batman's cape and cowl.
Right, yeah.
You feel powerful.
Do you?
Yeah, you do. Because we shot this actually in Pittsburgh at WQED, the channel, television station, where they actually made it.
Yeah.
And to walk into that studio in a red sweater and blue shoes, people actually would be the crew guys would be looking at it.
You had some of the original crew?
They just came over to look at me like this.
Really?
Oh, my God.
That's weird.
It's a sweater just like Fred wore. they were kind of enamored with the power. It's like kind of like there's a number of roles.
Wait till they go to a Marshall store. They're really gonna crazy.
Stay out of Old Navy, folks, because you'll never get out of there. If you're in Pittsburgh, it's kind of like if you're in Memphis and you're making a movie about Elvis. In Pittsburgh, if you are making a movie about Andy Warhol because he's a favored son, Roberto Clemente.
Yes.
Franco Harris.
For sure.
You have carte blanche in the city.
What about Terry Bradshaw? Would he qualify?
I think, he'll get credit, but at the end of the day, they're not going to say, hey, do us a solid with Terry, would you?
Did they do that to you?
Well, I was coming down from the gym in the hotel, and I was all sweaty. Uh-huh. And a guy got on the elevator with me, and he said, oh, Mr. Hanks. I said, yeah, hi, how you doing? He said, you're shooting the Mr. Rogers film here. I know. Yes, I am. Yeah, I am. How is the shooting going, Mr. Hanks? I said, pretty good. Hope it cuts together. I don't know. Hope it comes out well. I'm having a good time. Oh, good. Well, I wish you good luck on the rest of your shooting, Mr. Hanks. I said, well, thank you very much. And as the door, he got out before me, and as the door was closing, he turned and he looked at me and he said, we take Mr. Rogers very seriously here in Pittsburgh. Like that. And I think, he had his eyes went like snake-like for a second. And I'm thinking, I believe I have been threatened in the city of Three Rivers.
I think you delivered the goods. We'll come back, we'll see a clip. Tom Hanks, A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. We'll have that when we come back.
And do you think living here makes it easier or more difficult to be a celebrity?
Celebrity? Mercy.
You don't consider yourself famous?
Fame is a four-letter word, like tape or Zoom or face. What ultimately matters is what we do with it.
And what are you doing with it?
We are trying to give children positive ways to deal with their feelings.
That is Tom Hanks
Much
as Mr. Rogers.
Much like Jimmy Kimmel. Giving the studio audience a way to positive ways to deal with their feelings.
Lenny, you did a great job in this movie, and everybody will say that, but also the writer did a great job of making this. The story is so well put together.
Noah and Micah did they worked on it for a very long time. And, they started off just having Fred Rogers in a movie. Without really necessarily talking to the Fred Rogers Nation. A lot of people who had worked and knew him.
Yeah.
And they eventually worked with him hand in hand and looked at their archives and turned him instead of one of the keystones of the movie as opposed to just the character.
The story revolves around Mr. Rogers' relationship with a writer from Esquire, Tom
from
Junod,
that very magazine,
and who begrudgingly wrote a profile of Mr. Rogers.
Well, now Tom Junod was at the time he was a persona non grata because of his celebrity profile style.
Yeah,
he pissed off a lot of people.
He'd kill people in these interviews.
He would approach it from kind of like, what's the scoop here? And then write it from like, you're not gonna quite believe what this guy or this woman is pulling off. But Fred knew that and said, no, I want this guy to come and write this story.
And he wound up really changing his life. And then that's a prop from the movie.
Now, let me tell you about, they talked about the taking of this photograph for about 14 weeks before we got around.
They did?
They were all talking about, we're going to bring in a special, and we're going to bring this one guy, and he does it really great, and here's what it is, and what we're going to do is we're going to light it here. I said, look, guys, I have to put on a sweater and look at the camera. I think that's all I really need to know. So whenever you're ready, just say, come on over and take a picture. And even then, we still have like 3 passes.
I was surprised by how much nudity there is in the film. That I did not anticipate.
Well, there is. He did swim every morning about 9 a.m. You know, it's funny. I talked to Joanne, his wife, and I said, did he really swim every day? Oh, every day, Tom, every day. I said, I don't think I could get to a pool and swim every day. Oh, he said, well, they only did it for 20 minutes. I said, 20 minutes? I could swim 20 minutes a day.
Did you take it that seriously, where you were swimming before you shot?
I did a lot of swimming in order to get, because he did swim. He was a really good swimmer.
What else did you do that Mr. Rogers did?
I will tell you, at the beginning of the show, It's a Beautiful Day, you know, come through the front door and do all that, 27 takes. It took 27 takes to get through the song.
You have to get that exactly right.
Well, it turned out that, first of all, there's tricks. His shoes were bigger than his feet were, so they came off very easy.
Oh, you're ruining everything.
Went on. I'm sorry. I hate to destroy your childhoods this way. But the sneakers, you know, half the sneakers were already half tied. So we only had to put them on and do the rabbit ear and around. I was tying the whole damn shoe, Jimmy. I had to put it on, the once across and then the rabbit. And that added easily 3.2 seconds to it. And more often than not, I couldn't quite finish.
You have to time the ending of the song.
As a matter of fact, the toss of the shoe, always late.
Did Mrs. Rogers tell you any private information about Fred?
This is what she said. She said, Fred made me mad more than I ever made him mad. Really? I'd come home and I'd say, you know, that mechanic just doesn't know how to fix a Pontiac at all. He didn't know. He kept me waiting. He didn't know what he was doing. And Fred would say, well, you know, he might have been having a bad day. And Joe would say, oh, poo on you. I want you to feel sorry for what I'm going through. I want to hear about the mechanic having a bad day. And that was kind of like their relationship in a nutshell.
That's the greatest, yeah.
He drank. We were doing one early morning scene where I was talking on the phone to Susan, who plays Matt's wife. And I said, what did he have for breakfast, Joanne? She was actually there when we were shooting. We were in a house. And she said, did he have coffee? Oh, no, he never drank any coffee or tea. He'd have hot pomegranate juice.
Really? Hot pomegranate juice?
Yeah, so I went to Mari Heller, the boss, our director, and I said, boss, any way we can incorporate hot pomegranate juice into the scene? And she said, it can be sitting on the counter. And that was it. So I don't know if it's in the scene or not.
Wow.
But if you see a scene in my kitchen, look for the cup of hot pomegranate.
Did they even have pomegranate juice in the 70s?
Maybe it was cranberry juice.
Oh,
maybe
okay.
One of the two.
You know what?
Hot
Mr. Rogers famously never had a urinary tract infection.
Well, then there you go.
And that's probably why.
Now, also, the fact that the raciest he got was a glass of hot cranberry juice might be one of the reasons he talked so slowly.
Maybe
because
so.
there wasn't any legal addictive stimulants in his diet. Which is why there are so many pauses in your average episode of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Yeah, you got to slow down to play Mr. Rogers.
Oh, you do. I watch 800 episodes. You know, I watch a lot of hours, and I was 180 hours into it, and I realized, this is not for us. It's not for grown-ups. If you know that there are dopes and jerks in this world, then Mr. Rogers is not meant for you. It's meant for 2.5 or 3-year-old kids who honestly are wondering how batteries work and where pencils come from.
It took you how many episodes to figure out this?
180.
Okay, all right.
But I was
Tom Hanks, everybody. He's a little slow, but he's a terrific actor. A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood is in theaters now. We'll be right back. Congratulations on making it to the end of a YouTube video. Why not celebrate by clicking the subscribe button? You earned it.